And welcome in to the Rob and Kale Show. I'm Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining us this evening as we roll along here on our Wednesday night show. My co-host Carolina Jackpot will be joining me here in just a moment. We're going to talk about a lot of different things tonight. What in the world is going on with the South Carolina baseball team? Are they going to fire their coach in the middle of the season? Doesn't look like that's going to happen, but hell, who knows at this juncture, man? Who knows what's going on with that? Let's welcome in my co-host, who is in the upstate as he is turning on his stuff here. Didn't mean to hang him out like that, but he is getting himself squared away. He is Mr. Carolina Jackpot, Cale Hall. Cale, welcome to the
show. Yeah, good evening, everybody. How are we doing this evening? Just trying to get this studio set up here.
Yeah. Well, that sounds good, man. Hey, it's great to have you here this evening. I was going over kind of the list of things we were going to talk about. The Gamecock baseball team. We got to talk about that for a second. Where your head coach had to go on the radio and say, "Hey, I'm not going anywhere," because it seemed like everybody. I know everybody's pissed at him, but we'll get into that in a moment. I wanted to bring up, and this isn't a political show, but it's very interesting that we have Nick Saban, Tommy Tuberville, and Donald Trump trying to put something together to, I guess, fix NIL. We'll get into that too. I mean, that's some interesting stuff there as well, right, Jackpot?
It is. So you got the Alabama man and the Auburn man working hand in hand. That you can't say that happens every day.
You can't. You really, really can't.
Go ahead. Did you mention to the folks over there in the chat about our streaming?
Yeah, we're gonna go back to StreamYard.
Shut up.
We're gonna have to yelling at me. I was like, you just told me to talk.
No, shut up.
Anyway, no, we're gonna go back to StreamYard starting our next show. So it'll be our last set on the restream here. So
yeah,
we're going back to StreamYard.
Yeah, we went just gone ahead and bit the bullet and got that set back up. Got we've got some people that want to get in that for some reason they can't get connected with the restream. They're trouble on the end somewhere. So we don't want anybody to not be able to precipitate. So I think it's easier too. And looking forward to using it too. And probably this summer, watch Carolina Jackpot maybe going live some. I'm thinking about, I don't know. Maybe a Saturday night show.
I think that, and I thought I was going to talk to you about you and I possibly doing a little bit of something different during football season, maybe adding some content here and there. But we'll definitely get into that. But yeah, I mean, good to be going back to StreamYard here shortly. Let's shout out to the comments section over there. G-Man says Maneri just needs to retire, man. This guy could have left on decent terms at LSU, and now he's going to leave South Carolina probably disliked. It's a damn shame. Yeah, that's a fair statement too.
Yeah, muddy up your legacy, tarnish your legacy, if you will.
Look, and I'm not just kicking the Gamecocks while they're down here, but I have no clue why they hired that guy. I mean, they could. He's
Ray Tanner's friend, right? Are they friends?
Yeah, I guess so. But in my brain, Jackpot, now I think of South Carolina's baseball program as one of the elite programs in the country, and shouldn't have any problem going to get whatever fucking coach they want. And the fact that they settled on a 65-year-old geriatric when they could literally go and get any up-and-coming young coach that they want baffles me. It just baffles me. And it should baffle South Carolina fans too.
I was thinking about Landon Powell as like being a really young. I thought he was like a 30-something. That guy's over 40 years old.
Right. Yeah.
So he's not a young whippersnapper. I mean, it's not like you're going to be hiring someone who just turned 30 to come head up a major SEC program. So I really don't understand why they didn't go that route. I mean,
even if you didn't go that route, jackpot. Let's say you went and got, I don't know, Duke's coach, okay, who's led Duke to be really, really good. His name slips my mind, but Duke's one of the better programs in the ACC right now. You're telling me that you're going to offer him, and he's going to be able to play at a major college baseball venue. That guy would have bit. I know that he would have. I mean, I'm using that as just one example. Hell, you could have went into East Carolina and got their coach.
Well, I think they tried to get him, but I think he was like, I want to stay at East Carolina.
Well, then he enjoys losing. That's when someone says that, I just want to stay here. You don't want to go somewhere where.
Believe me, I've been to Greenville, North Carolina, but I mean, I'm not saying that Columbia is any better, but I mean, Greenville, North Carolina, imagine a smaller version of Columbia closer to the coast.
It's a shithole. It's not. I mean, let's just be honest.
Yeah, it's a shithole.
We can be honest. Yeah. Tiger Red Devil says Powell would jump at the chance. Head coach at his alma mater. Yes, sir. I agree with you on that. I don't know the behind the scenes stuff with all that. Someone told me at one point that maybe Powell didn't have his degree. I don't know if that's accurate or not. But whatever on that front. Eddie asked.
David says the Dodgers coach. So Tommy Lasorda. Believe me, if he was still alive, Ray Tanner would probably try to hire him.
Get a shovel. Eddie asked if I'm concerned about the Tigers' last few games late in the season. Yes, we talked about this. If you watch the show, I have said point blank, Clemson looks like they're riding high right now. Before the series with Florida State and NC State, I said, remember, college baseball is played in June. That's when it's relevant. That's when it matters. And until you can start winning games in June, look, I like Coach Bakich or Back Bitch, as Jack Block calls him. Yeah, he's a great coach. Bitch. Yeah, but in reality, until he starts winning games in June, I don't want to hear anything about, we're elite, we're going back to whatever. No, you're not. Not until you can get your shit together and start winning in June. So yeah, it's very I think this Clemson team, and I said this on the last show, it's going to be either really, really hot or really, really cold. They could lose in the regional. People laugh at me about that. They absolutely could lose in the regional because they don't have enough pitching to, if they drop, let's say they drop game 2 of their regional, they are fucked. And people get pissed when I say that. They do not have enough pitching. That's why they've been 10-run, I think, 3 times this year. Because the very, very back of that pitching staff is god-awful. And if they're going to win on Sundays in series, they've got to score at least 12 runs.
Well, that's when if they're seeded 1, and so on Friday night they should throw their Wednesday pitcher at the, the shitty team, whoever the 4th seed is.
Right.
Just my 2 cents. But
I agree with you on that, but it's a mess is what it boils down to. And hopefully they can figure it out, but we'll go from there. All right, let's talk real quick here. Did you catch the interview with your baseball coach?
I did not. I just read like some of the transcripts, some of the hot takes from it.
Well, the first thing was he said, "Hey, I'm not going anywhere." The second part was he basically said they're trying to recruit better talent. Which the way that it came off, if I am a young man that's playing for him, basically what you told me is that I am shit. That's just the vibe that I got from it. And now obviously you could say, hey, the best way to fix this is we're going to work hard to bring whatever, but just the way he said it, we're going to bring higher velocity arms into the bullpen.
Yeah, a lot
and the bullpen is like,
a lot of bad optics around the program right now. A lot of people they kind of read between the lines of what he was saying, I think, and weren't too impressed. But then we had that one dude. What's that dude that's on Facebook that claims to be a Gamecock baseball expert? The one that lives up here that had like 5 kids or something. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. His
Yeah,
name
he was saying something like, I can tell you from within the program that I don't goddamn know how he ended up procreating with a woman to have one. But his fucking he fell out of the damn ugly tree and hit every damn branch on the way down. But he said that it's true that from inside the program that the players love Coach PM, and I'm like, whatever. I don't put any stock in what these fucking people say. I don't know what the hell they're talking about.
I got nothing for you.
I think some people just make shit up to make themselves seem relevant, you know?
Oh, I sent you something earlier. I wanted to go over something really quick here. I emailed it to you. Hold on, let me pull it up here. According to, there is a website that rates podcasts, and it's called the millionpodcast.com. According to millionpodcast.com, Jackpot,
we were number 999.
Hold on. We are in the top 100 SEC football podcasts. We check in at number 65. We are, as far as South Carolina podcast goes, we are number 3 in their rankings as a South Carolina podcast. And what was the other one? The other one was for the ACC. We are, for Clemson, we are the number 7 podcast.
Wow.
So number 3 with the Gamecocks, number 7 with Clemson, number 65 in the as far as the SEC goes, as far as our podcast goes, which is the recording of this show that we put out. So
that's outstanding.
I emailed you that so you can check it out. But the people that are ahead of us for the Gamecocks are Inside the Gamecocks, a South Carolina football podcast, Sports Talk SC, which is Phil Kornblut, and then it's us, which I thought was like, holy shit.
Wow. And they have no idea who we are. Well, and there's other folks out there who do some too.
Right. Well, and they've got the whole list of them there. But as far as Clemson goes, it's Sports Talk SC, then Clemson Sports Talk with friend of the show, Stop Looking at Me, Swan. He's number 2. Followed by the Clemson.
I forgot all about that. Stop looking at me, Swan.
Stop looking at me, Swan. Gramlich and McLean, which is Kelly Gramlich and Eric McLean, their podcast. Basketball Conference, the ACC football podcast I've never heard of. Facts on Sports, which is Facts and Childress, a gentleman that I know. He's on the Roar up in the upstate. And we are number 7, Jackpot, on the millionpodcast.com ranking. So thanks to them.
Please tell me we're ahead of anything William Qualkenbush does.
Yes. Well, I don't know where William Qualkenbush is on the SEC.
But busy broadcasting girls basketball games.
Right. I don't know where we are on the other ones, but I know that we're number 7 in Clemson, number 3 in South Carolina, and 66 in the SEC. Walk It Off Sports asks, who is number 1 for the SEC? We're number 65. Let me see who's number 1 here. Number 1 is Cover 3 College Football, followed by Josh Pate's College Football Show. And then it goes down from there. Paul Feinbaum's at number 5. But, yeah, we're just to be in those rankings is actually pretty cool, Jackpot. Lets people know.
It's awesome.
That's why I laugh when people are like, people give me shit sometimes, like, no one listens to your. Yeah, they do.
Matt Shaw says that sports guy from Tennessee gets so many damn views. I'm going to talk about him in a little bit, but yeah.
Well, go ahead. What do you got, Jackpot? we'll get into the Trump thing in a minute.
This fucker, I'm telling you what. Anytime he does a video, and I see, I want to, I unsubscribe from his channel because I can't stand to listen to this bullshit. But anytime I see the Michigan coach, or he uses the same old thumbnails over and over. He's gotten into this algorithm somehow or another and knows how to do this. But anytime I see a thumbnail with the Michigan coach involved, whatever, what's his name, Moore or Jim Harbaugh, I always watch it because I know he's going to talk about the Gamecocks in here, because we're going to talk about Connor Stallions. We're going to regurgitate all that again. And he's going to go over his list of his circumstantial evidence against the Gamecocks for cheating against his Vols 3 fucking years ago, but yet nothing has been done about it in 3 years. So, yeah, what's your take? What's the over-under on yes or no they'll ever do anything to investigate any of this concerning Gamecocks? It's none. I mean, they got the guy they want. Jim Harbaugh was the one that should have been put. He ran off, though. He tucked tail and turned and went to the NFL. So he said, "You're not going to punish me." He's like a little 6-year-old boy shaking his wee-wee out in front of everybody because he thinks it's cool, and then he goes and runs off to the damn NFL.
I think that, like, I've done some SEO work before, and from what I gather by the stuff that he's doing, you know, as you said, he's essentially using the same topic over and over and over again, and getting people to finally catch it after they miss it the first time in their feed. And I'll give you an example. We did a show a while back, and I don't know if you remember this or not, Jackpot, but the thumbnail, the catchphrase at the beginning of it, the topic at the beginning of it was, did Bear Bryant beat his wife? If you go and Google right now, did Bear Bryant beat his wife, you will see the Rob and Kale show up at the very top right now. Simply because of, I mean, it was some off-kilter thing that I put together about Bear Bryant beating his wife. But the thing is that stayed at the top of the Google thing because of the way that it was worded and the SEO, etc. But he just keeps reusing the same SEO terms and blowing up his videos with them. Or it's either that or, and I don't know the guy from anything. Maybe he doesn't have the talent to speak on anything unless he researches the shit out of it and then just keeps regurgitating the same thing over and over and over again. Maybe that's part of it. Or maybe he knows that he's dealing with simps who all they want to hear is, we got cheated with Hooker and we didn't fuck around and do anything, and Tennessee is the best thing ever. Maybe he's just catering to dummies, and the dummies just keep coming. It's one of those three.
Well, I mean, I've listened. I mean, he's a pretty intelligent guy. I mean, I don't know, but we talked about the Tennessee thing, and he's like, they went out the next week and beat Clemson. He's like, and kept them out of a playoff spot. Blah blah blah. He's like, but then they go 2-6 after that. Okay, well we went into the next year, you dummy. And he talks about how we were a farm club for Florida State. Well, okay, we can't say, well, we were a farm club for Florida State. We had all these great players, but then you talk about how we lost 2 out of our next set, whatever. We went 2-6, yeah, because we lost some good players. I mean, I can't argue with somebody, you know, and try to get my point across, and I'm not going to keep on doing it. I'm just like, whatever. But like we've already talked about that one. The Taters lost that game more than South Carolina won it. I know that. I mean, it's fun to poke at you fuckers and everything else about it, but they lost that game more than we won it. You don't lose a game like that. You don't stop running the football in the second half. Has nothing to do with Connor Stallions. Running stupid trick plays have anything to do with Connor Stallions. Putting a freshman back there to field punts with 2 minutes left when the game's on the line, that had anything to do with Connor fucking Stallions.
Well, and you're absolutely right about that. At the Clemson game that season, there was they stopped giving the ball to fucking the old mustache
Shipley.
dude. Yeah. But why would you stop giving Shipley the ball? I would have given him fucking 40 carries. Let him and Moffa just run the damn ball. But they stopped doing that. And they tried to get cute. And then they ran this gay, and that's what it is. It was the gay power play, is what I call it. It looked like a gay flower. Seriously, where like 1, 2, 3, 4 guys here, and we got one guy in the middle. Yay! They were all trying to make a bukkake video with this one guy in the goddamn center, and he couldn't catch the fucking ball.
I don't know if they were trying to troll Shane Beamer with a silly special teams play or something, but man, it's obvious they haven't practiced it very much because it didn't do
jackpot. I'll stand by it. It was a fucking bukkake play. Everybody's standing around trying to jerk off on somebody else's face while he catches the ball, and they were hoping that the Gamecock players would stop. Why are we getting a bukkake video here in the middle of Death Valley? And this guy would run off. That's how stupid that fucking play was. It was ignorant to say the least. And not only that, but Spencer Rattler fucking played with his dick out. Let's just be honest. He threw some interceptions or whatever, but he went out onto that field and he had it in his soul. We're not losing this fucking game.
He threw a pick six in the first quarter.
But he never lost the moxie of, we're going to win this fucking game. He had balls that day, and his balls and our lack of balls are why we
let me say it too. I'm not taking anything away from our performance. I mean, they showed some guts and moxie for sure to come back from being down, especially on the road when Clemson had momentum and that. But still, at the same time, they still pissed the game away.
Yeah.
And that has nothing to do with sign stealing or Connor Stallions. I mean,
exactly.
You can't look at something from a 10,000 foot view and try to offer up a commentary on it and expect that everybody's going to buy that. Now, all of his Tennessee circle jerk buddies are going to buy it because they're just lapping up every damn word he says.
Well, that's the thing.
I try to make my case. They're like, crackpot's just salty. He don't know what he's talking about. No, motherfucker, you don't know what you're talking about. You didn't watch that. I guarantee you he didn't watch a damn minute of that game.
He didn't watch any of it. And the whole thing, it sounds like we're just doing Tennessee stuff, but we're not. They are epic in their fucking.
No, I went off on a tangent.
Yeah, you're right. But anyway,
Batman says Rattler was a Gamecock legend. Yeah, he definitely solidified himself in some type of legend status there at the end of that season.
There are two Gamecock quarterbacks. As a Clemson fan, I want absolutely zero part of. I don't want anything to do with fucking Connor Shaw, and I don't want anything to do with Spencer Rattler. Those two. The rest of them are all bitches in my mind. Those two,
I don't think you won't really want anything to do with Steven Garcia either.
Fuck him. He'll just key a car.
Or Mike Hold. Hey, what was I going to say? But you remember Rattler in 2023? I mean, he had a great season. I mean, statistically and for what he was playing behind, he had a great season.
Well, that offensive line was the shits, jackpot, by your own accounts. So
if he had just a mark, pick any team from the middle of the SEC and pull them out and put that offensive line with him. He'd have been, I think, first team all conference.
I'm kidding, Cockaboose conductor. Steve Tannehill was pretty good too. I'm just joking here, but
Steve was a fucking dude.
He was a dude. Spencer Rattler earned my respect with the when he went out that last Clemson game that he had, knowing damn good and well, hey, I'm going to be an NFL draft pick. But he went out knowing he was going to be an NFL draft pick and went out there with that offensive line that he knew was the shits. And he knew that he was going to – it was almost like a damn snuff film. And he knew that it was a pinhole's chance of them winning. But he still went out there and played when he could have been like, hey, I stubbed my toe and nobody would have said a word to him. But he still went out there and played and tried to, will his team to another win. So – that guy's got my respect forever. I mean, he is a
Speaking of that team, and when I think of that game, I think about Mario Anderson getting the concussion in that game from getting hit so many times. Did he get invited to a camp or anything, or did anybody pick him up in the draft?
No, I don't remember anything on Mario Anderson. No.
Well, he had a pretty good season last year. I would have thought that somebody would have offered him something. I don't know.
I don't know about all that, buddy. Yeah.
Well, there's other places he can play.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway,
what's this league? What's this thing Cole Kubelik commentates for? Is it WFL?
The UFL.
UFL. Yeah.
So, by the way, I've been following up, and people mentioned it over here in the chat. I know we don't normally talk the NBA, but the playoffs have been outstanding. The Knicks just went into Boston and beat them again. They were down 20 in the third quarter and came back and beat Boston. They're now up 2-0 in that series. Haha, fuck the Celtics. They're getting their ass kicked. That's great. Anyway, let's talk about this thing with Donald Trump really quick here.
Rob has an SEC bias, says he signed in Canada. Okay.
So from USA Today, I'm reading here, President Donald Trump planning to create college sports commission per reports. He's, according to Ross Dellinger, citing sources within Congress and college athletics, reported the most details are being kept private for now. It's unclear if any announcement will come soon. However, the commission is expected to include college sports stakeholders, prominent business people with deep connections to college football, and perhaps even a former coach and administrator. College sports leaders have petitioned for congressional aid in the changing world of its athletics, as more money is going to players and schools than ever in the name, image, and likeness era. The commission is expected to examine a number of topics across college sports, per Dellinger. That includes player movement in the transportal, booster compensation paid to athletes, whether college athletes will be employees of the university or remain students, Title IX implications on revenue share payments, and conference membership and TV contracts. So Donald Trump he spoke at the commencement for Alabama the other day. Nick Saban introduced him, and apparently Saban got in his ear afterwards, and him and Tommy Tuberville and everybody got together, and it was basically, look, this NIL stuff is garbage. We got to figure out something that we're going to do with it. And Trump is supposedly putting this to a commission. Now, there's going to be people, Jackpot, that are just going to hate Donald Trump. He could cure cancer and people would be like, fuck him. He's that polarizing of a dude. What I appreciate about this is that I don't know if he can get through the court system because it's been ruled against the universities and everybody else for so long, but at least he's trying to do something. He sees that it's a problem. College football leaders came to him, and nothing but respect for Saban. I mean, and Tuberville, who was now a senator, but they said to him, like, look, this is an issue. At least Trump is trying to put something together, and he should be given credit for that.
Yeah. I mean, look, he's trying on a lot of things, but it seems like, I don't know, it seems like everything he's trying to do keeps getting shot down. But I mean, once again, I'm not going to get into the ins and outs of that, but I mean, it's high time. I mean, how long we've been, 3-4 years into this thing?
Right.
And nobody stepped in with any kind of solution. And they've just let the whole thing run amok, which, I mean, if somebody had stepped in year one, you probably would have been able to bottle up and control a lot of this stuff a lot better, because you wouldn't have, everybody who, if you put some kind of cap on things, who could point and say, well, this one did this, putting the toothpaste back in the tube, in other words. Whether if you had shut it down early, and got some restrictions on it early on in the game, now it's just going to be so difficult to regulate.
I'm of the opinion that, look, if you have, let's say that each conference can set a quote salary cap on a team. Okay. Let's just say, we'll use the SEC as an example. The SEC is going to tell each school, look, you can use $40 million on your football team, just a round number in a vacuum. Here's the thing on that. You think that they're not going to use more money than that? They were told, we've already done this. They were told, don't spend any money, and people were still getting paid.
Yeah.
So the idea comes back to, just because you give them a round number doesn't mean that they're not going to follow it. So that's part of the problem, but there are ways to fix it. And the ways to fix it are, have a governing body that has a spot on each campus that they monitor all of this stuff. And if someone goes out of line, like the bullshit with Tennessee, the bullshit with North Carolina, where they were given African American studies degrees out of the damn Wendy's window.
Yeah, it wasn't even a real class.
Right. People have a degree in African American studies from North Carolina, and they can't read. There's 3 guys that played on the basketball team that cannot read past the 3rd grade level, but they have a degree from the University of North Carolina. That is shitty. And you have to take Tennessee and North Carolina cases like that, and you have to fist fuck them so hard they don't want to cheat again ever. And what I mean by that is, Tennessee should have had a 10-year postseason ban. Something that stringent. You don't get to go to the postseason forever. And
Wow.
Oh, by the way, you're playing your conference games or whatever, but guess what? They're losses. You're forfeiting them. And if they have this long list of stuff up here, maybe not a 10-year ban, but a 5-year ban, whatever. But this long list of stuff up here that fucks them to the point where the fan base is like, dear God, we played Vanderbilt and we lost. That goes on the record as a loss. We don't get to go to the Who Gives a Shit Bowl. We don't get to do shit. And oh, by the way, you lose half your scholarships. I mean, we need shit like that where it's held up and they're held to it. That's the way to fix it. But I don't know if anybody's got the balls to step up and do that, and there's still going to be people cheating. So It's a mess.
Got my little puggaroo here. She's my creative muse.
Yeah.
Is that what Bill Belichick said about that girl? She was his creative muse.
No, she's not. She just looks good in a bathing suit, and he gets to fuck her.
Well, that's just a really strange, weird situation. Like, I don't. It's out of hand. I mean, it's not a midlife crisis. It's like an old age crisis or something he's having.
Yeah,
you'd think that the adults in the room, which I guess would be their athletic director, would step in here. Like, no, she's not coming to our practice. No, what are they paying him? $12 million a year or something ridiculous?
I don't know.
Jackpot.
I'm going to ACC kickoff this year.
That's going to be
so I have an opportunity to question Bill Belichick. So if my name comes up in the draw where we get a one-on-one interview with him, I'm going to have a list of questions for Belichick.
Dabo's going to be mad he doesn't get to be the center of attention. Mike Norvell is going to be sitting in the corner with a sign, "I used to be popular."
Well, ACC Media Days now.
People used to want to talk to me.
It's like a 5-day event now. So they'll only have like 4 teams a day. I guarantee you Clemson will be on the last day. North Carolina will probably be on the first day. That's just the way that it is. They won't have Dabo and Bill Belichick on the floor at the same time. Just too much silly there. Let's welcome into the program our buddy Peckerhead. Peckerhead's joining us this evening. Let's see here. Welcome to the show, Peckerhead.
Good evening. How are y'all doing?
Man, better than we deserve.
I hear that. The Rizal Faison situation is a big old steaming pile of bullshit.
Yeah,
if I can just
go ahead and put that out there if you don't mind. Just give us the condensed soup version of that, because I read it and I was like, ugh.
Yeah, so keep in mind, just context while I give this story. Shefflin plays 4 years of college basketball. He can play football fine. Diego Pavia plays 2 years of JUCO, 2 years of JUCO and 3 years of Division I, and he still gets another year. So just keep that in the back of your mind. But Rizul Faison, okay, starts off his college journey with a gray shirt at Troy. Okay.
Yep.
Marshall.
Oh, Marshall.
What the fuck is a gray shirt anyway?
A gray shirt means that
you're not on scholarship.
You're not on scholarship, but you're invited to play. Basically, you're like a preferred. It's like one step, almost like being a preferred walk-on. Yeah. Is what a gray shirt is.
So we got that, and they counted that as a red shirt year as well. Transfers out of Division I to an online.
Online college for the
where he's not even on a football roster.
Yeah.
He then goes to another JUCO where he's on a football roster but doesn't play in a single game. So that's 1 year where he was on a roster, not redshirted. Okay, if we're doing math. He plays 1 more year at JUCO, 1 more year at Utah State. Okay, so we're looking at 1 year at JUCO, out his redshirt freshman year, technically speaking. If we're just stringing it year after year after year to make it simple, his redshirt freshman year was in JUCO and he didn't play. Then he played his redshirt sophomore year in JUCO.
Right.
And then he would have played his redshirt junior year at Utah State last year, if I'm just stringing it across.
But to make it simple, he's only played 3 years of football, and they're trying to fuck him out of his 4th year because of some junior college shit. Is basically the gist of it, right?
Yeah. 3 years, and only one of them was at the D1 level.
Right.
And you got guys like Pavia, who's already played 3 years of D1 football, getting extra eligibility. When he actually played, it wasn't like he was just on the roster of a JUCO team like Faison was. He actually was the starter. Oh, come on! Hey, if you interview Belichick, you got to slide a Rob has SEC bias question in there for me.
His girlfriend's probably hanging out with the prostitutes in the stands.
Well, where's the UNC and Taters game at this year?
I think it's at UNC. I have to look.
So I'm about to say, if it's at Clemson, Dabo's going to be the center of attention. He's not going to let her show him up. So that's just not happening.
Welcome to the program. Dabo loves rock. Welcome to the program, sir.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Sure.
Hey, first off, just wanted to say, love your guys' show. It's my first time calling in. I will watch you guys till y'all are in the nursing home.
That's probably coming sooner than later, but thank you.
Yeah,
Jackpot and I are going to be he's going to be in one room and I'm going to be across the hall and I'm going to sling my fucking bedpan at him during a game.
As long as it's not full, we'll be all right.
I'm going to hit him in the head like Vince McMahon got cracked by a Stone Cold. I'm just going to slap him upside the head with it and see what he does.
Yeah, bedpan 316.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I just had 2 questions for you guys, though. Really. Kind of like your opinion on things, but wanted to see y'all's overall opinion on y'all's teams. And then also, I kind of had this thought of where, do y'all think Georgia is the next Clemson? To where every year they're going to be great, or I would say good, way above average, but not elite like the 2 national championships they had, ever again.
I think ever is a big word.
I don't, because I think they're recruiting at a high. I don't see their recruiting slipping off. So Clemson's recruiting slipped off a little bit,
right?
And that too. And then I think he made some bonehead decisions on his assistant coaching hires too. I just don't see Kirby Smart making which Kirby Smart playing staff together pretty much. He hasn't lost anybody, and then he's made good hires when he's had to. So,
yeah,
I agree on that front, but I don't think Georgia's going to fall off because, as the Jackpot said, the recruiting stuff, the fact that they're not scared to go to the portal, and money's not a problem at Georgia when it comes to that football program. I don't think they're going to. You may have a year or two where they slip up and go 9-3 or something like that, but and I know people think Clemson slipped a lot. But when you have as good as those championship teams were, it's the same thing with Georgia. They had a generational defense with that one team. They were that good. And getting that many great players together on one team, even if you have all of the things that you need, is just hard. So
yeah, I was going to say, surely those in those Aaron Murray years, they still had to be recruiting in the top 10, and they just couldn't get over the hump. I mean, I understand they're the tank right now, but I mean, Alabama lasted 7, 8 years. I probably would have thought they would have went for a decade or two.
Kind of my thought behind it is like the way Clemson has kind of fallen. It was like a slow, gradual thing where I don't exactly know the numbers, but it seemed like you would lose a game one year, and then next year it'd be 2 games. And then now it's like, is it 9-3 back-to-back years?
Dabo Swinney slipped with the transfer portal and didn't use it. And it ended up biting him. And then he's finally started to use the portal. Not as much as he could, but he started using the portal, but he had a set where he wasn't going to do it. The Goodman hire I thought was going to be good when Venables left, and it ended up being bad. This whole who was the other guy? God, the guy that used to be a quarterback at Clemson, but now he's like a GA at Georgia, no, he's not a GA. He's like an analyst at Georgia. Yeah, Brandon Streeter, making him the offensive coordinator. On the surface, it looked good, but in the end, it ended up being the shits. And so he made some huge mistakes at the coordinator's position. Luckily, they were able to stay where they are, and they didn't fall back into fucking no man's land. But apparently he's tried to fix that now. I don't know how good this Penn State defensive coordinator is going to be. If you go and look back at some of the stuff that they put out there especially on the fan sites about the defense just didn't show up for the big games. They forgot how to tackle against Ohio State for 4 straight seasons. That's the kind of stuff you hear. I don't know if he's going to come in and fix all that, but at least it's an outside voice. And Sweeney's more of a CEO now, in my opinion, than, hey, I'm going to go and try to stick my hands in everything, which I think.
Well, you know who I can't, Rob, and maybe you can speak to this more as a Clemson fan. I can't believe, with the amount of money Garrett Riley's getting, right, and the level of patience y'all didn't have with y'all's previous OCs. Granted, he's not been terrible, but he hadn't been most expensive OC in the country. He hadn't given you that.
No, he hasn't. He hasn't. So, I think that Matt Luke as the hiring the offensive line coach, I think is something that's going to. I mean, it takes a year, in my opinion. I think you'll see some. The offensive line will be better. It'll make Riley's offense better. People are in love right now with Cade Klubnik. I still remember the Cade Klubnik who wouldn't fucking listen at Miami and ran the wrong plays. I mean that he's still that guy. All right, and there's still that. He's still that guy. I mean, yeah, you can grow up and mature, but in my head, I worry about him late in games thinking, oh, I can fucking do it myself, even though the coaching staff tells me something different. I'm just not in love with that. And I'm also not in love with, you mentioned our team this year. I don't know who the fuck our running back's going to be. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, we brought this guy in or that guy's developed. That is stupidity at its finest when you say that. hey, we're going to bring this guy in and he's going to take up and pick up where Maffa left off. When you say stuff like that as a fan, you are fucking ignorant. That is ignorant to the highest level, in my opinion. Yes, these guys are going to come in, they're going to get carries, and they may make plays, but to say that he's going to be what Maffa was, get out of here. That's stupid. So
kind of with that being said, then, I've seen some places where preseason Clemson's top 5. Are you not feeling that then?
I think that they're a top 15 program. I think top 5 is a reach. I think they're a top 15 program. I've seen projections where Clemson's going to have 13 guys drafted in the next year's draft. And I've seen that on like multiple projections. Bill Kuiper has 13 Clemson players getting drafted in next year's draft. Is there talent up there? Yeah, there's a lot of talent. But I worry about the running back room. I worry about Klubnik being stupid because he's already shown that he can be. I worry about Dabo putting his hands into shit again. And I worry about the defensive coordinator trying to come in and put in this system, and maybe these guys don't pick up on it quick enough.
That number 5 preseason ranking I'm seeing from a lot of people is just I don't know. I'm not getting that. I mean, what are we basing it on?
I don't get it either.
We were only behind Texas in the third quarter by a touchdown.
Well, and see, you also they lost Barrett Carter, who is a great linebacker. Got drafted in the 3rd round by the Bengals. They lost Mickens, the back end of your secondary there. I mean, there are definitely some questions there. Now, do they have players that are coming in? Yeah, they do. But you don't know what they are yet. You don't know. And to sit here and say, oh, we're just going to put these guys here and they're going to be a top 5 team. I want them to be a top 5 team. But when I see them as a top 15 team right now. Now, with their schedule, I still think they can go 11-1. I really do. But I can also see a schedule where they go 9-3 and they finish 19th in the country.
11-1 being a loss at the end of the year?
No, a loss to Georgia Tech. That's the game I'm picking them to lose.
Okay. I was just going to say, with you mentioning that talent, y'all's problem this past year, though, was lack of depth, right?
Lack of depth, especially at running back. I mean, they almost killed Maffa. Maffa was running around in the damn Texas game with – I mean, I think he had something like almost like.
They're gonna have to rebuild his fucking legs like RoboCop at the.
Yeah, I mean, it was. There was definitely that. I mean, I think there was lack of depth as far as in the secondary. You're right about that. But last year's defense was statistically one of the worst defenses at Clemson in a 10-year period. They were really bad. And to think that you're going to lose Barrett Carter and a couple of other guys and, we're going to be better because some asshole from Penn State's coming down here. Now we're going to be a top 5 team. A little bit of a reach, in my opinion. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Has that guy ever coached in the South before? I mean, is he coached anywhere outside the Big Ten?
I'd love to see him go to a Waffle House. He wouldn't know how to eat fucking hash browns.
Yeah, he'd order cream of wheat, and they'd look at him like he had 2 left feet.
What the hell is cream of wheat? He'd order sweet tea. Like, they bring him sweet tea. He's like, what is this?
He was wasn't he the head coach at Indiana before he got picked up as the DC?
Yeah, he got fired.
Yeah.
I think he was the head coach. Yeah, so I don't think I can't find his coordinator history, but
he got fired. Everybody that goes to Indiana pretty much gets fired, don't they?
Yeah, his highlights are a loss at the Outback Bowl.
You know
why
Indiana
Bowl.
sucks so bad is because they got that damn. They make their basketball players wear those candy stripe fucking pants. They walk out on the floor.
They pump all their money into basketball, but they pumped a lot of money into NIL.
They gave this man
off season. They worked that transfer portal now.
They gave this man 8 years, and all he ever gave them was 1 season above 500. Outside of the COVID year, I should say. He was 6-2 in the COVID year.
When
So
Kurt
in seven,
Signetti got there from James Madison, he said,
yeah,
fuck that damn basketball. He said, you're going to give me a
immediately,
damn checkbook to open it up if you want to
immediately.
win some football games.
Hey, that's all he does. Google him. That's all he
Yeah.
does.
So when I play Ohio State, I get my face kicked in. Huh?
He was look. Can we just agree that Indiana was smoke and mirrors? They won games, but it was literally like, don't look at the man behind the curtain. You know, I mean, it was literally misdirection and bullshit. There was
don't look under my skirt.
Yeah, there was nothing about them that's like, okay, that's a good football team.
It a lot. Well, I think it a lot reminded people of what they thought of Missouri last year. But I mean, Missouri was good. Missouri was a good football team last year. Were they playoff level good? No, but that team that came to Columbia, I mean, when they fell behind, they brought it. I mean, they did get blown out at Alabama and A&M, but they had some injuries in that game. Their quarterback was hurt. Their wide receiver was hurt. I mean, there were reasons, but.
Hey, how pissed off was the Mazad cast Burden fell?
How pissed off were they? What?
How pissed off was the Mazad cast that Burden fell in the draft?
No, they haven't put out anything about
They need to start putting out more shows.
They don't put out much content.
They don't put out much when it's not football season.
Yeah, you know, I'm surprised they hadn't came on to old Carolina Jackpot stream.
I had them on my Fox Sports show, and they were, you know, and they sounded, they were pretty good, but like they're just football guys, man. I mean,
if they wanted to invest in it and do it full time, I think they could really make a lucrative deal out of it. And I like the guys at that SEC podcast. I don't know if you've ever watched that on YouTube. They do a real good job.
Those guys are solid.
Mike and cousin Shane. Hey, Bo, what's going on?
You and him are basically twins, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm his younger brother.
Hey,
yeah,
Dabo,
second
you're a Carolina
cousins.
fan, by the way, right?
What's that?
Huh?
You're a Carolina fan, Dabo?
Oh yeah. Look, man, got the cup right here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's got a cock on it. Yeah, man.
I love how you guys run around. My cup's got a cock on it.
That's right. It tastes good.
Hey, it tastes like victory, don't it?
Yeah, it does.
Right. I wanted to mention this because I brought it up a while ago about, you know, Carol Beamer specifically kind of making an effort to kind of win the state in recruiting.
Yeah.
I was looking on 247 and the 2 classes from now, Rob. 3 of the top 50 people in the country are coming out of South Carolina, and 5 of the top 150. If he can wall off the state like he has shown to do, I mean, granted, it's all smoke and mirrors. Nobody knows what's going to happen. I'm just talking about what he's done. All right. He's typically recruited the state well. If he can do that again in 2 classes, we could be looking at a fucking gauntlet of a recruiting class coming in.
Well, you know what? I think you're correct. When South Carolina's glory days, which were the Clowney and those guys, when they had those guys coming in, and they got the pick of the litter, they got the Marcus Lattimores, they got all those guys that were generational players that, you know, they had that one set where, you know, Georgia didn't come in and get players, and like AJ Green going to Georgia still baffles the shit out of me.
Yeah,
how a guy from Somerville High School could go to fucking Georgia when and I'd never understood that. But I mean, you can look at other guys that went and you know, went and played in other spots. My friend John Thomas, who ended up being the starting center for the Saints in their last Super Bowl win, was from LR, which is literally you could throw a rock and hit fucking Williams-Brice Stadium, and he went to Michigan.
Oh, what
okay, and ended up being there, playing on the offensive line there, and then going on and winning a Super Bowl with the Saints. Spurrier built that wall and got the Clownies and all those guys. And yeah, and if Beamer can do that, and if the talent is guys that are like that, then yeah, I mean, it's not that far-fetched to think you could have a great program down there. I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen or not, but
yeah, it's 2 years from now, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not one of those things where it's like that'll never fucking happen.
Yeah,
that's not fair to say. But I don't know if these guys are going to develop at a level where they could be the Clownies and the Latimores and everything else. But the best part is we'll see.
How's that? Yeah, and touching on that a little bit, I want to say
Rob, what was the name of that? I can't remember his name. I was trying to think. What was the name of that guy from Union that went to Clemson? That
Roscoe Crosby.
Yes, there it is.
Fuck him forever. Remember the shit that happened with him, Jackpot?
Where it's best thing ever, and
they lied to him and said he could have the first play called for him, and he ended up getting his ass smoked in the first play, and then he had a torn vagina for the rest of his career. Fuck that guy. Can't stand him.
Well, I was going to say also, it was those guys you were talking about. Beamer was the recruiting coordinator when they came. Was he not? That 2009, 2010 class?
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I don't know the exact dates on it. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I remember hearing a story about him going.
Might be right. I mean, that's
meeting Alshon Jeffrey. He was supposed to go to.
I know
Alshon Jeffrey was supposed to go to California. Yeah,
I know he recruited.
And he stole him away.
And he had some other players that he got. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you.
So what if Beamer was the one who established the Spurrier wall, Rob?
I think that Spurrier had more to do with it than Beamer did, sir. Let's just leave it at that.
I had to test you a little bit. You were being too generous tonight.
I think that Spurrier. I think that trying to put Beamer in the same ilk as Spurrier is.
No, career-wise, I agree, but South Carolina career-wise, I think there's a fair comparison to be made at this point. Career-wise in total, certainly not, but just tenure at South Carolina, I think there's a fair argument.
I mean, you can make that argument. I'm not. I still think Beamer's fucking.
He's definitely surpassed Muschamp at this point, though, right? In your opinion,
that's a high bar to set, sir. We're better than Will Muschamp.
Muschamp, for all his downsides, I would say, given the dark history of South Carolina football, he probably comes in as the top 5 coach.
Look, I was polite about your coach and saying that you could have all. Just run with that. Don't come here and try to give me Muschamp was this. Muschamp was a piece of shit. Muschamp defended a fucking murderer on a staff. I mean,
when did that happen?
The whole DJ Durkin thing. Durkin was responsible for a kid dying. And when someone mentioned something about it, he's like, well, you don't know what you're talking about. He defended DJ Durkin.
The coach at Maryland, that guy died during the conditioning drills.
Yeah.
And he said, we don't, I don't put a whole lot of stock in anonymous sources.
It wasn't an anonymous source. The guy fucking died under his watch. And then instead of stepping back and saying, I'm just going to take care of what I got to take care of here.
Yeah, I mean, and I was like, I remember that. I made a video about it when it happened. I'm like, you just played the fifth. I mean, you should have just stepped back and say, so I'm really not abreast of that situation, but it sounds horrible from the outside. Praying for everybody involved. There you go. All you got to say.
It worked out for Brian Kelly. He's got a body count of 2 now, so the dude could have 2 teardrops coaching on the sideline right now.
Looking at Muschamp, he kind of gives off Cuck vibes, doesn't he?
I think he's all Dan Mullen.
Yeah, I mean, you seeing his wife get it, right? I mean, I could see that from him.
Probably does.
I
don't know.
I'm going to answer a couple of things. I pinned questions in the chat from way back here. B. Shady asked me, Carolina Jackpot, you still scratch any tickets? I still scratch them. I don't scratch as many as I used to, but I still scratch on a pretty regular basis. In fact, I got $100 worth in there. I need to go cash in and get me some more. I haven't scratched any on the channel and it's been forever. Probably like Christmas, not this past Christmas before. I did a book on here. Just don't have time. I don't know. Just something about it. It just ain't fun for me to do on here anymore. But yeah, I still do them. And then Mr. War Eagle asked Carolina Jack about why do you hate the Auburn Tigers? I don't hate the Auburn Tigers. The fan base, sir, gets a little bit chesty, as you well know, for no reason. Right now, they should be humble because they've had some rough times, but they still want a gum bump, and that
I don't like their coach. I don't like their coach.
Yeah, I don't. You know, you've got a lot of people picking them to be some kind of breakout team this year. Oh, they're going to go 10-2. They make the playoffs. I got to hell. The quarterback that they're banking on doing all this with was a steaming fucking turd last year. I don't care if he played at Oklahoma. He was a steaming turd. I mean, you can't just wrap this turd in tinfoil, send it to Auburn, open it up, and think it's not going to stink anymore.
They had a losing record last year, right? Am I mistaken?
In Auburn?
Yeah. Auburn was 5-7.
Yes.
Yeah.
What the fuck are they even talking about? What did they do the year before? Was it not a losing record the year before too? Am I just making that up?
I think the year before they might have made a bowl game and lost it or something. I don't know.
I mean, they haven't. Nobody's talked about Auburn since Bo Nix came into Columbia and got his teeth kicked down his throat. All right,
that game was crazy.
Hey, I mean, Auburn's an afterthought. I can't believe anybody's. I haven't seen that, Kale, but if I see that, I'm calling it out every time. Auburn hype at this point is a bit ridiculous.
Who's that? What was that old running back's name?
Tank Bigsby.
Tank Bigsby.
Tank Bigsby. Yeah, they and Mike Bobo calls a damn screen pass on 4th and 3 or something inside. What they were on, like they're on 35, and he was running against us for like 6-7 yards a clip. Instead of
he just had a run for 17 yards
on that one.
Well, and Bobo's done that shit before.
That's just a classic Bobo. But listen, as much as people say Muschamp is a Georgia sleeper agent, a similar argument can be made. Bobo is a sleeper agent for Carolina.
That quarterback, he was a transfer. He went to LSU the year before, and he lit us up. And he went to Auburn. Was it Finley? Was that his name?
Yeah, I think
black dude.
No, they had old Nix.
Awful.
Wasn't it Nix the last 2 times we played Auburn?
That's the last time.
Bo Nix in 2020, I think, when we played the COVID year, 2020, I think Bo Nix was there. Yeah. But the year before, because 2020, we beat them, and that was the last year Malzahn was coach. Yeah, 2021, we played them and beat them. We came from behind and beat them, and Harsin was there then.
So they had Finley in that 2019.
Yeah, that's right. Finley, okay. Yep, I remember that.
I don't remember Finley. I thought it was Nix both times.
Yeah, you might be right.
Either way, we whooped that ass, and they haven't done anything. I mean, has anybody actually talked about Auburn since Cam Newton left?
Well, no. I mean, here's the thing with them, though, is that
they made it the national championship game. They made it in 2013. That was that one. That's the one that really pisses me off. That was the year when Carolina lost at Tennessee, and so that rendered us not eligible for the SEC championship game because we could have went there. We could have beat Auburn in that one, and we would have gotten our natty game against Florida State. But no, instead we decided to go to Tennessee and shut down the back of both legs. Big pile of peanut butter goo.
Yeah, that was that year they had that crazy catch.
One bowl.
That was that year with the Cats versus Georgia.
Walk It Off Sports asked about the Clemson versus Notre Dame series, having Notre Dame on the schedule for Clemson for up through 2038 or whatever. Here's the thing with that. Right now it looks good because Notre Dame is good. I don't like this whole thing of scheduling teams out that far because we don't know if they're going to be a shithole in 5 years or not. Because I give crap about putting South Carolina on the schedule. I think that your schedule should be reevaluated every 2 seasons, and you should be able to opt in and opt out of games to try to keep your schedule as competitive as possible, with the non-conference games helping to prop your schedule up to make you better. Or if you know your team is going to be weak, you can schedule down and do a Kansas State and play, some Kent States, etc., to beef up your record a little bit. I think you should have that option. But scheduling out through 2038, I mean, I know that Notre Dame is one of those iconic blue blood supposed brands, but I don't like the idea of, 5 years from now, they may be the shits. I don't know. So I want Clemson to have the best schedule they can have on the non-conference front. And if that means not playing South Carolina, don't play them. If that means not playing Notre Dame, don't play them.
You don't want that ass beat.
Nah, I want to have the toughest schedule you can have to prepare you for the playoff, regardless of who's on it.
Yeah. Carolina's got a home and away with Virginia Tech scheduled all the way out to 2034. And
I think that's shitty.
That's ridiculous.
Why would you do that?
It makes no sense.
It makes zero
Do
sense.
they really? They've got it.
Yeah.
They've got that scheduled out that long.
Not only Virginia Tech, but in the same years they have a home and away scheduled for App State.
We've got a home with Miami sometime soon.
Yeah, that's coming up. That'll be next year.
Yeah, 26.
We'll get Miami at home next year. Yeah.
I don't think that scheduling for anybody is that important that far out, but
we're gonna have a nice little run versus App State. It looks like we've got them on the schedule.
Well, they are on a 1-game winning streak against you. So
yeah, I was at that game. It was fucking tragic.
That game was terrible.
It was so bad. Such a shitty game, dude.
I was in the press box for that game.
We're going to App State.
Let me see. No, it looks like they're going to be making the trip to Carolina every year, or no, every other year. They'll be coming to Carolina for a while.
But we're
and then
not.
We finally go to App State in 2033.
Let me give you a spoiler alert on that one.
The Cockaboose, it's going to be the Cock and Boone.
Yeah.
Let me give you a spoiler alert on that one. South Carolina will pay the buyout. They're not going to App State. That shit's not happening on any level. And I'm just saying they'll kick back. Why in the fuck would we go up there with those hillbillies? They'll pay the $200,000 and not play.
We went to East Carolina, yeah.
They won't do that. I just don't see them doing that. They'll play every other year, having them come down here, but when it's time to go back up there, and Clemson would do the same thing. You're not going to get very many teams that are going to do that.
At that East Carolina game, wasn't in a game-winning field goal. Am I making that up?
For which one?
I think when we went away to East Carolina, it took a Parker White
Jackpot was there.
It was close.
He had to kick a field goal to win it. Yeah, I about got
to be coming away then. If, in all honesty, I don't want to risk that.
I parked in somebody's front yard for $20.
Hey, if Tennessee can buy out Army,
Frank Beamer's hand.
Oh, you shook Frank? Oh, hell yeah! Why the hell was he? Oh, that was Beamer's first year, then, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was out. He was out there by the buses and stuff.
Was that his first game, Shane Beamer?
Second.
No. Second.
Yeah,
the first game was Eastern Illinois.
He was out there around the buses and stuff, fucking around, and he was over there, and he told my son that he liked his whatever he was wearing, his polo shirt or whatever. It was a Gamecock something, and I was like, how are you? I'm like, good to see you, sir. Kind of like, damn. So yeah, you're in the presence of a celebrity. It's not a celebrity, but you know.
I remember Beamer coming in. Nobody had any faith in that man. Everybody thought we were going to go worse than 2-10.
Yeah, that's what the Vegas line
It
was.
was
It
a
was like
4.
3 games.
I think it was 4, wasn't it? I can't
Was it?
remember.
I
Like
think it was
3.5.
3 or 4. It wasn't any.
Yeah, it was like
Not a
4.
lot was expected
I
from
wasn't thrilled. I wasn't thrilled when he came in because he didn't have any head coaching experience. I'm like, the fuck are we doing here? But yeah,
Well, you also had
he
for
grew
what
on
was
me.
it?
It's been a love-hate relationship, he and I.
Well, it's
But
remember the first
right
season
now we
that
went
he
through
was
counseling
there.
and
Yeah.
The first season he was there, Don Staley made twice the money he did, which people
Yeah.
seem to forget that because
He's
they
still
had
underpaid.
to. Well, you can make an argument he's underpaid, but the fact that Don Staley made twice the money that he made, which
Yeah, that is
I don't
funny.
give a shit. Don Staley's a great coach. I'm not throwing shade at Don Staley, but just from an economic standpoint of money that comes into the university, the numbers just look like y'all didn't give a shit. And I understand you were paying Muschamp and blah blah blah, but he was making like $2.6 million and she was making 4.1.
And his
What the
coordinators
fuck
got
are we doing?
his coordinators got raises before he did.
yeah.
And he probably knew that. He probably knew he had to coach a little bit to, do his thing. But just the idea of
I was hearing something. I think I heard it on that SEC podcast actually today. That Brian Kelly is Brian Kelly putting up some of his own personal money into the NIL
Like a
fund?
mil.
I saw
yes,
that.
a lot
Like $1
of
million.
coaches are doing that where they're putting a little bit of money into the NIL. I mean, if I'm a coach, I would do that.
Well, listen, if I'm a school, I'm
Well,
signing.
100%. I mean, you don't need.
Well, if I'm a school,
$10
I'm
million
raising the
for?
coach's salary and asking him to do that on conditional, because the school can't directly contribute to it. But if they give the coach an extra $5 million a year conditional, he puts it in the NIL fund. I mean, what the fuck's going to stop people from doing that?
Well, that's true.
I guess it might hurt you on the buyout, but at the high end of coaching, like, with Kirby Smart, people like that, I don't think you're really worried about that.
Well, and I got to look at this, but most NILs are considered nonprofits, right? So if you put money into them, you can write it off on your taxes in theory. So if you give to an NIL and it's considered a nonprofit, you can write that off on your taxes. And in the end, you're getting better players. And, in theory, you're not even having to pay for it. So that's why it amuses me when it's like, oh, the coach is given to the NIL. Of course he is. He wants to win games.
Well, and he can actually give that to a specific player too. He doesn't have to just put that in a fund. He could just give that straight to the quarterback. My company's done a couple NIL deals, so I kind of know how they work.
You think Deshaun Foster is going to give a big wad to Nico?
Oh, hell yeah. The guy who can't finish his fucking introductory press conference, I doubt that dude even knows how to write a check, if we're being honest.
Well, I mean, he can always just go to the ATM machine.
Just get on McDonald's back. Nico's used to that, so
he can use Apple Pay.
Navy guy says Heupel has a better conference record than Beamer has an overall record. Let's chill saying he's underpaid. Okay. I mean, look, I understand that you have to defend Josh Heupel, but as far as where South Carolina's program was,
well, that's bolstered by that pop year that Heupel had in 2022.
Yeah,
right,
he's been being on average since then.
But I'm just saying where South Carolina's program was, where Muschamp left it, compared to what went on at Tennessee, and Tennessee was a better football job than South Carolina was when Beamer took over. And now Beamer has, he's done a lot with that program down there. Now, I don't think that he's the greatest thing ever, but this whole adage that Heupel's so much better than he is just comical. They have to think, oh, well, he's great. He's our coach. And
exactly.
I get it.
And the thing is, Heupel. Name one person Heupel's developed.
He developed Hendon Hooker.
Hendon Hooker. Can you develop a guy who comes in his junior year though?
Hendon Hooker was told by the Virginia Tech coaching staff. He was told by
the Virginia Tech coaching staff, if you go to Tennessee, you'll be pumping gas for the rest of your life.
But he was told you're not a quarterback by fucking Justin Fuente, who was considered a quarterback whisperer.
Mm-hmm.
And he went there and Heupel ended up getting Hooker drafted. He also got Joe Milton drafted, and Joe Milton's dumber than a bag of hammers. He got him drafted. So, I mean, if you want to talk about him developing people, that's
Joe,
he got him drafted, sir.
Drafted,
he got him drafted. Come on now.
Hold up. Joe Milton
Samson got drafted.
Let me give a little pushback. Joe Milton could throw the ball probably 85 yards coming out of high school.
Sure.
What if you actually watch how Joe Milton played? He was one of the most inaccurate quarterbacks in the SEC. I mean, if realistically he was drafted because he could chuck the thing.
He got it. He got him. He got him drafted. And
I guess but he could throw that thing 85 coming out of high school.
I tell you what, I knew this was coming from Navy guy. Drew Lock was terrible before Heupel. Are you really going to ride fucking Mizzou nuts, sir, to validate your coach? Dear God. Most Tennessee fans are like, fuck Mizzou. They don't even belong in the conference. Unless it helps old cookie face Heupel up there when he was at Mizzou and helped fucking Drew Lock. Come on, man. Do better. I can already predict the bullshit you're going to send at me.
He's talking about Dylan Gabriel. That was UCF. He's riding those Central nuts, too.
UCF. Who the fuck did UCF play, dude? Oh, what are they? Sunbelt? They're playing Coastal, App State.
They were in the
Well, why don't you look at the numbers, and year after year with Heupel, as he's gone on, his offensive numbers have fallen each year at the two stops. They've gotten worse on the offensive side of the ball as he has gone on. Why can't we talk about that?
Rob, you know why that is?
Because it doesn't help their argument.
Well, it's a gimmick offense.
I know it's a gimmick offense.
Well, yeah. That's what I was going to say about Hooker. I mean, you got a guy, listen, Shedeur Sanders is the most accurate quarterback in college football history. Do you think that's based off of skill or based off of scheme?
I don't know, man.
I don't know. He's he's fairly
Keep
talented.
in mind, he throws the ball behind the line of scrimmage damn near every play, and he's also career leading in yards after catch, meaning he doesn't throw the ball fucking far, and it's all just wide receivers running or Travis Hunter running. I guarantee you, if you look at Hendon Hooker's yards after catch, it is extremely comparable to what Shedeur Sanders' yards after catch.
Well, and that's fair, but in the end, we have to give Heupel credit for the fact that you have to give Heupel credit for the fact that he put in just his time there. He's had two quarterbacks that have gone to the NFL. Got to give him credit for that shit.
I will give him credit for Hooker. I'll give him credit for Hooker, but I still stand by with Milton. I mean, that motherfucker could chuck that thing coming out of high school. He wasn't drafted based off of performance. If anything, his performance lowered his draft stock. I want to say going into that season, they were talking about him as like a mid-round pick, something like that. He definitely wasn't projected to be a 7th rounder going into that year. So there's an argument to be made that, actually
there's an argument on both sides, I guess.
Yeah.
Where do you guys see Shula, or how do y'all see him doing this year, being new OC?
I like him. Rob swears he's going to turn. Look at his smile. I already know what he's thinking.
You about
He's
to call him
thinking-
Bobo 2.0?
No, he's thinking
No,
he's
I
going to
just-
turn him
I
into Kirk
think that-
Cousins.
I think he's gonna try to take Lenora Sellers.
I know
And the thing that Sellers is good at, he's going to tell him, no, we don't want you doing that.
Hey,
We don't want you
it
breaking
seemed that way in
tackles
the
and running down the field.
but
It
Rob,
seemed that
you
way
know
in the
that-
bowl game.
I don't think
He didn't
Shane
do that in the
Beamer-
ball game.
That's when your
Well,
head
that's what I'm
coach
saying. He
got
kept him
no-
behind the pocket, playing safe.
Yeah, of course he did. That's
Yeah.
why you lost to fucking children
Well,
of
hold up.
corn.
First of all, maybe he just didn't want him to get hurt in a bowl game. But second of
Fuck,
all,
if you don't want him to get hurt, don't fucking send him out there.
well, hold up, Rob. I heard a stat you might like.
Okay.
Of all returning quarterbacks on passes further than 20 yards down the field or more, Lenora
Sure.
Sellers ranks, I believe it was 3rd or 4th in the country in completion percentage at 52.7%.
That's great.
So
That's not a
he's
bad
out.
stat. Drew Aller, that Penn State guy was 1. Drew Aller, I think he was up at like 58% or something like that.
I know some of his
I'm just not
receivers
sold
too.
on Shula, but we'll see.
Hey, I know it's getting late. I'll end with this. Drew Aller, I saw a lot of things saying if he would have gone into the NFL draft this year, he would have been a first-round pick. I saw that being reported from a couple of no, I'm telling you, the Steelers report. I think it was the Steelers. No, it might have been an earlier pick. Who had that 3rd pick? Was it the Browns? It was the Browns. The Browns GM, I guess, told some reporter anonymously. You can Google it. They said they were going to take Aller at the number 3 pick if he had declared. So, but other than that, go Gamecocks.
Yep.
Tennessee, man. I mean, you're average, dog. Who even's your quarterback? Do you even know? Because I don't. All right.
The interception machine.
The
I've heard
interception-
he's gonna Heupel's gonna fix his game.
Hopefully, I mean, about 20 passes behind the line of scrimmage every game should do that for you. I heard it does wonders on the quarterback. Just ask Shador.
Or if it works and they can move the ball, then that's fine. But I don't know, man.
Go Gamecocks. Rob, you're good. You were good tonight, man. Good job.
I'm always good.
But listen, if you can,
I don't just show up here and be like, oh, I'm just gonna dick around and do nothing. It's not like I just, hey, Kale, I'm gonna come on and be a fucking C+ player tonight. I don't do
I
that
see
shit.
Kale yawning, so I'm gonna peace out.
I'll be
Y'all
as
take care.
average as I can.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Yeah. Hey, I appreciate you guys taking my call too and answer some questions.
You're always welcome,
problem.
sir.
Thank you.
All right, appreciate it, man. I'll tune in
All right,
soon.
buddy. See
See
you
you
later, man.
Yeah.
All right, Jackpot. You got anything else you want to add this evening, sir? We'll be back on StreamYard on Sunday, so that's good.
Yeah. Yep. No, I think that's about it, man. Pretty good
All right, well,
show.
we've had a great show, and we didn't even mention. We did mention the Trump thing. All right, that's fair enough. All right, we appreciate